Building real wealth looks different than just looking rich. It isn't about buying expensive things. It's a process that happens in your bank account and your mindset over time. If you want to know if you're actually making progress, the best signs aren't your income or the car you drive. They are simple changes in how you handle money and how much control you have over your life. They are simple, clear indicators that you've crossed a psychological line from consuming to owning. Let's look at the subtle signs that you are actually building long-term wealth, while everyone else is just focused on looking like they have it. One of the first signs that you are building real wealth is that your interest in buying things starts to fade. When people are just starting out, they often feel a strong urge to buy new clothes, gadgets, or cars to show that they are doing well. But as you build actual assets, that urge goes away. You stop looking for validation from strangers through your purchases. You realize that every dollar spent on a depreciating item is a dollar that could have been working for you in the market. This shift is quiet. You might find yourself wearing the same shoes for years or driving an older car, not because you have to, but because you simply don't care about the upgrade. You start to find more satisfaction in seeing your account balance grow than in showing off a new purchase. This lack of interest in stuff is a clear sign that you have moved from a consumer mindset to an owner mindset. It is the realization that owning is much more powerful than having. Another subtle sign is that you stop checking your bank account every day with a sense of worry. In the early stages of building wealth, every bill or unexpected expense can feel like a crisis. You might constantly check your balance to make sure you have enough to cover your rent or groceries. But as you build real wealth, that anxiety disappears. You have a buffer, you have an emergency fund that can handle a car repair or a medical bill without disrupting your life. You might go days or even weeks without looking at your balance because you trust your system. This peace of mind is a form of wealth that money can't buy directly, but it only comes when you have managed your money well over time. It shows that you have moved from survival mode to a position of strength. This calm is often the first real luxury that wealth provides, and it is far more valuable than any physical object. You also start to value your time much more than you value money. When you are broke, you will spend 3 hours to save $10. You will drive across town to find cheaper gas, or spend all day trying to fix something yourself to avoid paying a professional. As you build real wealth, that logic flips. You realize that you can always make more money, but you can never get more time. You start paying for convenience so you can spend your time on things that matter, like your family, your health, or your business. You might hire someone to mow your lawn or clean your house so you can have your weekends back. This isn't laziness, it's a strategic choice. It shows that you understand that your time is your most valuable asset and that you are using your wealth to buy it back. Every hour you save is an hour you can spend on high-level thinking or rest, both of which help you build more wealth in the long run. A major indicator is that your investments begin to earn more in a single day than you earn at your job. This is a quiet milestone that most people miss because it doesn't happen all at once. In the beginning, your investments might only earn a few cents a day. But as the numbers grow, compounding starts to do the heavy lifting. One day, you might look at your brokerage account and see that it went up by $500 or $1,000 during a good market day. If that number is more than your daily salary, you have reached a tipping point. You are no longer just working for money. Your money is working for you. This is the moment where wealth building becomes automatic. Even if you stopped working today, your assets would keep growing. This is the true definition of financial momentum, where the engine you built starts to outrun the person who built it. You also stop talking about money with everyone. People who are trying to look rich often talk about their big wins, their expensive purchases, or how much they make. People who are actually building wealth tend to be much more private. They don't need to brag because they don't need the external approval. They might even downplay their success to avoid unwanted attention. You might find yourself having fewer conversations about what you bought and more conversations about goals, ideas, or long-term plans. You start to seek out a smaller circle of people who think like you. People who are also focused on building something lasting rather than just looking good for the weekend. This privacy is a hallmark of real wealth. It is the shift from performing success to actually possessing it. You start to view debt as a tool or a danger rather than a lifestyle. Most people view debt as a way to get what they want right now. They use credit cards for dinners and loans for cars they can't afford. When you are building real wealth, you see debt differently. You avoid high-interest debt like the plague because you know it steals your future. If you do use debt, it's only for things that will increase your net worth, like a mortgage or a business investment. You no longer carry a balance on your credit cards. You pay them off in full every month without thinking about it. This change in how you handle debt is a clear sign that you have gained control over your financial life. You are no longer a servant to the bank. You are the one in charge. You realize that a paid-off home is a better status symbol than a leased luxury car. Your financial goals also become much more long-term. Instead of thinking about how much you want to have by the end of the year, you start thinking about where you want to be in 10 or 20 years. You start thinking about retirement, about your kids' education, or about leaving a legacy. You are less bothered by the daily ups and downs of the stock market because you know you are playing a long game. A 10% drop in the market doesn't make you panic. It makes you look for opportunities to buy more. This shift in time horizon is one of the most powerful signs of wealth. It shows that you have the patience and the discipline to let compounding work its magic over many years. You understand that the biggest gains come to those who can wait the longest, and you are comfortable in that waiting period. You find yourself less impressed by big numbers and more impressed by net numbers. The average person hears someone earns $200,000 a year and thinks they are rich. The person building real wealth asks, but how much do they keep? You understand that a high income doesn't mean much if you have high expenses to match. You start to focus on your net worth, your total assets minus your total liabilities. You care more about your savings rate than your salary. You realize that a person earning $60,000 who saves $20,000 is often wealthier than a person earning $150,000 who spends it all. This focus on what stays in your pocket rather than what flows through it is a key psychological change. It's the difference between a high-flow pipe and a large reservoir. Wealth is the reservoir, not the pipe. You also start to feel a sense of responsibility toward your money. It's no longer just about having fun. It's about managing an engine that provides security for you and your family. You take the time to learn about taxes, insurance, and estate planning. You want to make sure that the wealth you are building is protected and that it will last. This doesn't mean you become obsessed with money, but you do treat it with respect. You view yourself as the manager of your own personal economy. This level of maturity and oversight is a sign that you are ready for the wealth you are creating. You are building a foundation that won't crumble at the first sign of trouble. You understand that building wealth is a marathon of management, not a sprint of spending. Another sign is that you feel less and less FOMO, or the fear of missing out. When you see others jumping into risky crypto trends, overpriced housing markets, or the latest hot stock, you don't feel the need to join in. You are comfortable with your own plan. You realize that most of those trends are just noise designed to distract you from your slow and steady progress. You have the confidence to say, I don't understand that, or that's not part of my strategy. This level of self-assurance only comes when you know your system is working. You are no longer chasing the next big thing because you are already building the right thing. You value the certainty of your own results over the hype of someone else's potential. You might also find that you are more generous than you used to be. Real wealth often brings a sense of abundance. Because you aren't worried about where your next dollar is coming from, you find it easier to help others. This might mean giving more to charity, helping a family member in need, or just being a better tipper. You stop viewing every dollar as something you have to hoard and start viewing it as something that can solve problems. This shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset is one of the most beautiful parts of the wealth-building journey. It shows that money has lost its power over you and has instead become a tool for good in your hands. Furthermore, you start to find that you have fewer financial emergencies. What used to be a crisis, like a leaky roof or a broken refrigerator, becomes a simple inconvenience. Because you have planned ahead and built a solid foundation, life's surprises don't knock you off track. You have insurance for the big things and cash for the small things. You realize that most financial emergencies are actually just predictable expenses that weren't planned for. Your foresight and preparation have essentially de-risked your life. This stability is a quiet sign that you have mastered the basics and are now moving into deep wealth. Finally, the biggest sign of real wealth is a sense of quiet freedom. You realize that you don't have to stay in a job you hate. You don't have to tolerate a toxic boss. You don't have to worry about the next economic downturn. You have options. This freedom is the ultimate goal of wealth building. It isn't about being able to buy a mansion. It's about being able to say no to things that don't align with your values. You have reached a point where your lifestyle is supported by your choices, not by your desperation. This sense of calm and control is the most accurate indicator that you are building real, lasting wealth.